This radio show is a paid placement. Welcome to Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us today. Mindy McIntosh, the founder and president of McIntosh & Associates, started the company back in 2004. Nolan McIntosh joined the team in 2018 after his legendary career as an athletic trainer all over the upper Midwest. But the idea is Mindy and Nolan are here to help you put a plan together for your retirement. It's called the Dream Focused Wealth Plan. It starts with a discovery meeting. Need to know about you to create a plan. What's your lifestyle going to be like? What do you want to do in retirement? Then they analyze where you are. Then there's a solution, right? Then you implement the plan, and that's not the end of it. You don't just get the Dream Focused Wealth Plan and Mindy and Nolan say, good luck to you. No, it's about going forward. We're going to help you get to retirement, but also through retirement. So there's just a lot of moving parts when it comes to retirement. The team at McIntosh & Associates are here to help. It's 877-222-8849. There's no cost, no obligation for this. I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this. Find out where you are on your road to retirement, 877-222-8849. And you can always go to the website to find out more. Events coming up, just a lot of information on the website, wealthmichigan.com. wealthmichigan.com. So you guys, Mindy, survived spring break. That's a positive.
It was a great time. Weather was fantastic. We couldn't have asked for better weather. A lot of fun in the sun, and we even made it there and back.
That was, yeah. We've heard some horror stories from friends of ours that it was just a difficult time getting back, but we actually did pretty well, so it was good.
Do you think the key was the private jet owned by McIntosh & Associates? Would that be nice? Just
That's a funny dream.
Well, we do have a friend of ours that owns his own plane, not a private jet, but he has a plane, and he goes all over the place, and the flexibility he has is when he tells me he can go here, there, and everywhere. It's intriguing. I just don't think Mindy would trust me in the air. So.
That's not what we're talking about today, though. Glad you guys had a great time with the kids down in Florida. That's really a fun thing to do to kind of rejuvenate for the final part of the school year for the kids. But we're going to talk a little bit about the federal income tax rates. And right now, they might be the lowest that you'll see for the rest of your life. Remember, the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the Trump tax law, if you want to call it that, went into play January 1 of 2018. It ends December 31st of 2025. And in 2026, everything reverts back to the rates and brackets of 2017. So your taxes are going up by at least January 1 of 2026. The Biden administration has certainly unveiled a lot of their proposals, and they've attacked taxes a little bit, said we're going to kind of do away with some of Trump's things in that area. His proposed budget, President Biden, for next year has a lot of people wondering where we're headed. And Mindy, I'll start with you. The Wall Street Journal editorial board had a swift reaction to the president's proposed budget. And the Wall Street Journal board wrote this: the budget reproposes most of the bad ideas that have not passed Congress and adds a new one, a tax on wealth, that Biden refused to endorse as a candidate in 2020. The op-ed goes on to say the White House proposal would enormously complicate the tax code. And I will say this. The first tax code was in, 1913. There were 400 pages. There are now well over 70,000 pages of the U.S. tax code. Mm-hmm. But the Wall Street Journal says it complicates the tax code, creates huge investment distortions. How do you see it, Mindy?
Well, I think we have a lot of things that we really need to take a look at. So as we look at our currency crises that we have with the international developments, or even, the chaos of what's happening with Ukraine and Russia, it's just that surge in oil prices that we've seen over the past few weeks is, going to take a gauge on what's happening with economic performance. And I'm even more of, someone that's looking at, these yield curves and, what happens when the yields invert. And to me, that's just taking a look at heavily weighted options of taking a look at interest rate comparisons. So, normally when we take a look at interest rates and, really when we take a look at over the last 100 years, our interest rates are definitely on the rise right now. And then we bundle that with the fact of looking at, tax rates. In my opinion, they have to go up. When we take a look at even the number of folks still on unemployment, even though we're seeing the, stock market has tumbled some and some different variations there. When you line up all these pinpoints or put different dots or bullet points on all of these different factors, I think now more than anything is a time to make sure that those that are listening, don't be fearful, but yet make sure that your plan is there and available and readily able to move and be able to make some changes. As we know, life always changes, and this is the time where that curveball is getting thrown at you. So how do we make sure that with our clients, we make those adjustments, we move into either what needs to be more comfortable for them, either a more secure option, or creating, some of our retirees need to create a higher level of income. We can instill that. So some of our products and investment vehicles even allow them to, hey, let's get an increased income for you and hedge inflation. And just the biggest thing is with everything that's going on, education is key. Having a plan and then being able to sit down and maneuver as we take a look at these changing environment. Nolan recently has been talking to a lot of our clients about what we're seeing over the last several weeks and how we just continue to make some minor tweaks. So if you're listening and wondering, gosh, I really haven't had a review in a while, I don't have a plan in course for, what's happening with inflation or even where we're seeing current data today, please call our office at 877-222-8849 and we can walk through what that discovery looks like for you and your vision.
It's one of those things that we know taxes are going to change. The question isn't when or how or it's going to happen, right? It's not a matter. It's going to happen. So we cannot continue to be spending the money we have for stimulus packages, whether you agree with it or not. It's not the point to really actually argue, whether or not you agree with the stimulus packages. It is what it is. And so with the government spending we've seen, with what we've seen in the past, what we see with inflation, taxes are going to have to continue to rise. They have no choice at this point. So I think it's really, really important that we look at where you're at from a tax status standpoint, where your accounts are, if they're in pre-tax versus after-tax versus non-qualified dollars, and look at that diversification and see what we can do to help you.
So with the tax law changing, and the Biden administration can certainly do something in the meantime, but we know January 1 of 2026, we revert back to the 17 rates and brackets. So our taxes are going up. So that means our window of opportunity to maybe move some of that IRA money into the Roth world, and not everybody should do it. Everybody's situation is different. How do you look at the Roth world, Nolan, in this environment? I mean, we're kind of running out of a little bit of time, and they're not going to it's not like everything's going to go crazy in 2026, but taxes are going up.
Yeah, and that's the way, when we talk to clients, we say, if you went to Kohl's, right, and you saw something that was on sale, would it persuade you to buy it? Or would you, wait, or, when it was at regular price? Well, more than likely persuade you probably to buy it at that point in time. So that's kind of how we look at taxes at this point. They're on sale. We know they are. Projections are, if we went back to what it was in 2017 versus today, if we just went back to that old strategy, which I think they're probably going to increase more than they were in 2017. But if we just went back to that, right, 12% bracket used to be 15%. So right now, if we do Roth conversions or some other tax strategies, because it's just not all about Roth conversions, there's some other alternatives that we can look at to help with saving on taxes. But if you're saving 3% in today's dollars versus what you're going to have to spend in the future, it kind of makes sense to get it on sale. And even if you didn't. So Ed Slott is a person that we follow. He's kind of the IRA tax guru over in New York. He's a CPA that really has been touted as doing really well with how we look at taxation there. And he had a client that, an advisor that was talking to him. He said, hey, you told me back in 0809 that I should be doing Roth conversions for a client, and you were wrong. Taxes actually went down from 0809. And Ed looked at him and said, okay, that's great. He said, so you mean to tell me your client's upset. What did the market do from 09 till now? And he said, well, it's raised by 500%. And he said, okay, great. So you said, he mean to tell me that even though taxes didn't go down, I was wrong. I agree. I was wrong. But even though taxes went down and you did Roth conversions for them, back in that era, you mean your client's upset that he's had 500% growth on tax-free wealth? And then the advisor's like, well, probably not, right? So that's the other point too, is if the continue to see market does, now granted, now it's volatile, but if we see market what it normally tends to do and we save in taxes, let's say taxes go down from here, which they're probably not, but is somebody going to be upset that we've now saved them in taxes on all the growth that they're receiving? So that's one way to look at it, just taking taxes out of the equation. And also, some people don't like the government being able to tell them when to take their money out. Roth conversions make sense, things of that nature, so that way the government can't tell you when to do it. Plus, I think there's a timeline. They may take Roth conversions away from us just because there's been some people, wealthier people, that have taken advantage of that, and the government doesn't really like that. So there's going to be some issues, I think, where they may even take it away. So it might not even be a timeline of taxes. It might be that it might not even be an option for us to do some of these tax strategies that we have currently available to us.
We had some clients in over the last few weeks too, and some of them are really talking about this factor that I am now retiring, and am I really going to pay more in taxes when I'm retired than I did during my working years? And that is a huge thing that we look at with our clients, of taking a look at moving some funds out of market risk, create a safe portfolio for them, and do some tax planning inside of that to create some tax-free growth. So if you're listening and you're really wondering about taxes, reach out to us here at the office at 877-222-8849, and let's get that analysis report in your hands to really take a look at the tax strategies.
And remember, when you call the team at McIntosh & Associates, there is no cost for this. There's no obligation. And taxes could be one of the bigger issues we have moving forward. You think about all the 401k money, IRA money that you've saved. If it's all in the traditional side, that means it has not been taxed yet. So there's a lot of tax issues coming your way. It'd be a great opportunity for you to learn more about where you are in this situation. 877-222-8849. We're just getting started today with Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes. Mindy Nolan back with more right after this.
Who will help you get there? Wherever you want to go and whatever you want to do in retirement, McIntosh & Associates can help you get there. You do the dreaming, they do the planning. It's your retirement, but you need a guide. As you approach retirement, McIntosh & Associates can make sure you're on the path to retire on your terms. And once you're retired, they'll help you stay on course. Think of it as a roadmap for your retirement. The team at McIntosh & Associates wants you to have the retirement you've worked so hard for. Come in and meet with them today. They'll help you create a retirement roadmap that's tailored to your dreams, your lifestyle, and long-term financial goals. Call today at 877-222-8849 and schedule a visit. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849. Firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Get started today to develop your own dream-focused wealth plan with the team at McIntosh & Associates. Schedule a complimentary first visit today. Call 877-222-8849.
Glad you're with us today for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes, Mindy and Nolan. You can always go to the website to find out more, wealthmichigan.com, wealthmichigan.com. Mindy started the company back in 2004, and Mindy and Nolan sit down with people and try to create the retirement plan that best suits them. Again, it's wealthmichigan.com to learn more. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. We're going to talk about financial literacy. And I know, and I'm way older than you guys. I'm 62. So I'm actually eligible for Social Security, but I'm not starting it because I'm working. So it doesn't make sense for me to give back $1 for every $2 that Social Security would give me. So I'm not doing that because I'm still working. Here's the challenge, though. When it comes to all the stuff that you guys talk about every week on this program, you would think because I'm in my 60s, I would know this stuff. But I can tell you it was never taught to me. And my retirement is much different than my granddad, who retired in the 70s. High inflation, high interest rates. He had a pension. So he had pension, Social Security, put money in the bank, get 12, 14% on a CD. It was a pretty easy time to create income. For me, I have a 401k and IRA, and I do have Roth. I don't have a lot of money in them, but I got some Roth monies as well. But my problem would be, how do I create income? I'm going to have Social Security, but I don't have a pension. So there's some challenges here in this financial world and retirement. There's so many moving pieces to this. Because when you sit down with Mindy and Nolan, it's about an income plan, an investment strategy, tax-efficient strategy, health planning, long-term care planning, legacy, estate planning. Social Security is in the income part, Medicare is in the healthcare part. That's a lot of moving pieces. I guess just to start, Nolan, you guys have 3 daughters. Now they're obviously, 7th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah. So you think about, they're not maybe breaking down all the stock market and all of that, but when I was in school, that really wasn't something that we talked about. It was more about, here's how you balance your checkbook, here's how you can make eggs or whatever. It was the basic stuff. I don't think we're taught in school how to invest and how to figure out what to do for retirement because it's so far away, I think, at that point. What's your take on it? Do you girls learn any of this kind of stuff at school?
Well, of course they do because of us. No, just kidding. They don't, not in school, right? And so Mindy has been very influential. We have a program here called Junior Achievement, and Mindy will probably talk about this a little bit on her side because she's doing it. But even in 2nd grade, they're starting to do some of this now here in our local school system. But not every school system has done that, and that's the biggest thing is that a lot of kids aren't taught this because their parents weren't taught this. So it's kind of one of these generational things that, it keeps going. And if the parents haven't learned how to do it, then, the kids aren't going to learn how to do it. So we try as much as we can to educate not only parents, but obviously kids as well. And we've mentioned the book before, The Latte Factor by David Bach. He's a phenomenal author that just kind of talks about, particularly for youngsters that are getting into, maybe starting their career or not even, quite yet, but just maybe started their job, right? Even at 15 years old, and just kind of talks about how you pay yourself first and just starting for that retirement plan, even in your early 15, 16 maybe. And just the law of compounding interest, because the one thing that we cannot get back is time, and compounding interest needs time to do compounding. So it's one of those things that we try to educate clients, try and educate, get in the school system as much as we can to help out the kids and help them kind of learn at an early piece. And you'd be amazed. Mindy comes home with some of these stories about how these young kids, they have some interesting entrepreneurial spirit, even at a second grade level. So it's interesting what some of the stories Mindy's come back with the junior achievement that she's been teaching.
So, Mindy, you teach them how to be like the Kardashians. Just create your own online presence, because it really is amazing what the Kardashians did. I mean, it really is what they've created. I mean, billion-dollar industry, basically the Kardashians. And those things were not even on my wheelhouse at 62. There was none of that stuff, when I was growing up. But it is an interesting thing because generations are different. You go back to my granddad's generation. He grew up and he was alive during the Great Depression, right? So he did not throw money away very often. It was pay cash as you go. Well, my generation, a lot of the baby boomers, we didn't live during the Great Depression, but our parents or grandparents did, and we might have learned some things, but then there were others that really didn't matter. And so maybe the baby boomer generation spends a lot of money as well. So, I mean, generations are different. My daughter's 21, and she's pretty careful with her money. I think she's way smarter than I am when it comes to that. The generations kind of change, do they not, Mindy?
They do change, and right now with what we're doing through the school systems, and even our three daughters with their ages, or we have a co-op student in here that we take on as a senior each year as they get to kind of be in the industry that what they're thinking about going to study later and what they're going to college for. So it's just nice to see the differences there. But we're trying to instill in these children, even our seventh grader says, Mom, I have really no idea what I want to do, in my career when I'm older. And she does have a lot of time. She's only in seventh grade. But what we're teaching some of these youngsters, even the second grade class and the fourth grade class that we've been doing this at the schools, is just teaching them a little bit about the different industries. And I'm trying to teach them a lot about entrepreneurship and what it's like to even utilizing the resources and the tools in our local small community we live in to what they enjoy doing. So the youngsters talk about they love to play soccer, or they're athletic, or another person loves being around people and making others happy. So we talk about careers that have to do with serving others. And so people even come into our office literally within a couple of days ago saying, I went to school. I had a good career. We're getting ready to retire. We're sitting here with you. And I just always thought I would have time to learn a little bit more about this. And here I am. I haven't really done a plan at all. And we're ready just for some help. And we see that all the time because it's not part of a curriculum. You have to go outside to take these additional courses or know what books to read or seek out some other, help to utilize these types of tools. But in my opinion, we all need at least some of it because everyone is involved in it. Everyone has to deal with financials, whether it's investments or life insurance, work 401ks, later losing someone, savings, kids through college, mortgages, and we could go on and on. So we need to help continue and instill at a younger age, but then yet have different, or even our website at wealthmichigan.com, there's different webinars they can go into. They can see different recordings, videos. I have handouts that we can really help to educate from wherever you might be at. Or, by all means, schedule a visit with us and we can, talk about it together. And you can reach out to us here at 877-222-8849 and let's start getting that ball rolling for you. And maybe you even want to bring in your child with you or a grandchild. We've had that too, where they're wanting to start teaching them, number one, what they're doing and who we are to be able to work with later. And, then that domino can just, start to roll.
So one of the things I think is really interesting, because you guys work together, obviously, but Mindy's more in the insurance Medicare side. Nolan, you're more in the market side, because you guys can help people. You're duly licensed. You can help people in the market and help people on the insurance side. So what I wonder, Nolan, is how open are the baby boomers that are coming in to sit down with you, because a lot of them I grew up I didn't get a cell phone until I was 35. We didn't have the internet when I was in school or in college or any of that. We didn't have any of that stuff. So there's so many things for us that are moving so quickly. For your three daughters, everything is moving slowly. When in the heck is the next iPhone coming out? It's been like a year. What's going on? iPhone 1 was good enough for me, right? I mean, so for older folks like me, things are going super fast. For the youngsters, everything's going super slow. It's a different time. How important is it to have an open mind when people come in to sit down with you and Mindy and talk about where they are on their road to retirement?
It's huge. You got to have an open mind because everything has changed. You're talking about the iPhone, so just from a technology perspective, yeah, things have changed. Even from an investment planning standpoint, things have changed. I mean, the old adage of life insurance was there for just as a death benefit. Gone. Mindy and I can strategize so much more with the new, just the new life insurance, how they've done things. And even in the market accounts, exchange traded funds were probably not something around when they started their 401ks, right? Everybody was used to mutual funds, and now we have these different types of assets we can look into. And just markets, right? The markets have changed overall in the last, 50 years. So there's so much that changes that we have to be open-minded to be able to implement some of these different things and to get you into a better position. And so change is difficult, but what most people don't realize is that change can be good. I mean, unfortunately, everybody always thinks change is bad, but change can be good. So it's one of those things that if we have an open mind, we can sit down, we can do an analysis, and we can team up and partner up and say, okay, I like this, I don't like this, From a changing perspective, we try and make that as easy as possible. When clients come in, they're like, oh, I don't have to make a call, I don't have to do anything. No, we can help you walk through that. So we try and make the changes seamless as possible, but change is going to be needed in order for us to be able to help you be able to get a better plan in place.
Mindy, we just have a couple minutes left in this segment. Talk about what happens when somebody does call 877-222-8849. What happens?
So when you choose yourself first, we talk about that a lot here in the office. So when you choose to take time for you, we literally just had folks in here that they are accountants and they are preparing taxes, and this is their busiest crunch time of the year. They had to set out time literally within tax time to come in and spend about 2 to 3 hours with us over the course of a couple meetings. So if you choose to have a visit with us, our first meeting is a discovery. We talk about where you are currently, what your questions are, hopes, dreams, fears, goals, and we start, talking about that. Then we collect some data. Maybe we needed to look at tax returns or current investment statements, or what is it that we're looking at for, interest rate environment or tax accordingly. From there, we move to an analysis. We put it all together. We show you some nice documentation. We can stress test your portfolio, run through risk assessments. We can see where we need to generate income from. Then we start setting the solution. We do documentation. We take a look at your plan pattern and walk through that together. And then we implement and monitor regularly on a quarterly basis. We're meeting, talking, and walking through stages of working years, retirement years, and what your goals are to move through that together. So if you're thinking that you need to review this, start a plan, or even review your plan, call us here at 877-222-8849, and let's get something set up for that visit.
Yeah, and it's really important that Mindy and Nolan want to know about you, because every plan, and when they recreate the Dream Focused Wealth Plan with their clients, everyone is a little bit different because everybody's situation is different. Their needs are different. Their hopes and dreams are different. It is about you at McIntosh & Associates. Again, that number is 877-222-8849. No cost, no obligation. I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this. 877-222-8849. We're going to give you some startling numbers about financial literacy in this country when we come back. Stay with us. This is Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes.
Of all the questions you get asked every day, this is one you shouldn't ignore. How much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Not what its current value is, but how much of it will end up in your pocket, not the government's. Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. Make sure you aren't overpaying. Keep every dollar you're entitled to. Look, I know it's confusing, it's complicated, and it's definitely not fun. That's why at McIntosh & Associates, we work with tax professionals to help make sure you aren't paying more in taxes than your fair share. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Call our team at McIntosh and Associates today. Get started. 877-222-8849. 877-222-8849. Don't do the IRS any favors. 877-222-8849. Firm offers insurance services and may not give tax advice. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Schedule your complimentary first visit with the McIntoshes right now. Call 877-222-8849. That's 877-222-8849.
Welcome back to Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes, Mindy and Nolan. You can always go to the website to find out more, wealthmichigan.com. They're here to help you create your dream-focused wealth plan, your retirement plan, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare. It's all in the plan, and it's all about you. Everybody's situation is different. And most people, it would probably be a first opinion if you came in and sat down with them, because you've just kind of been letting your 401ks and IRAs go. And I hope they're doing the right things, right? But there are some that are really be an engineer or a CPA, and you're like, okay, I got this. I can do all this. But retirement is different than your working years. And Mindy and Nolan are here to help create the plan according to what you need and what you want out of retirement. It's 877-222-8849. And again, you can always find out more on the website, wealthmichigan.com. All right, Mindy, I'm going to give you some stats. These are, to me, a little surprising, I think. And this is according to the American College of Financial Services. 89% of female participants flunked a 38-question quiz. 72% of men failed the quiz. First, are you surprised by that? And then second, are there any areas of retirement that you think people struggle with more than others?
You know, I firmly believe that obviously men and women are both in the working community now. Women usually are lower income earners due to the number of years or child rearing or caring for, loved ones and parents. I also do believe that as a general consensus, males do test better than females, I feel. Not always, but I do feel that males test better than females. I'll tell you, in our household, my husband has a higher IQ than me for sure, and he's going to for sure test higher than I do. And I also think that people don't know enough about inflation, taxation, really the ways that, cause and effect can happen as a ripple effect of planning for retirement. Everyone gets what they call busy, right? And you talk to people, you see them on the street, you see family and friends, and they say, we're busy, we're busy, we're busy. I like to eliminate that word from our household because realistically, we all need to focus on things that we're doing from day to day, week to week, and month to month. So it shouldn't matter whether, it's just that we're working each day, what's happening inside of, day to day working, and, I'm contributing to an investment account and we'll worry about this later. Well, what happens is then they're not exactly sure, well, I don't really receive statements on that anymore, and I don't really understand how to read them. I just see, did it go up or did it go down? So we hear all these different varieties of things that come in and questions that we see that clients and prospects have. And so I think it's very, very important that we go back and we say, well, let's actually run through how do we read a statement, and let's run through what does risk really even mean? And how and where are we creating income from when you actually truly do retire? So these are all things that we'd like to set up a visit or a call to walk through. Where are you at today? And what is that timeline look like? Because like Nolan said before, and we say it all the time, one thing we can't get back is more time. So let's take a look at that now and really find out what areas do you feel super proficient in and where might you need to lean on us to feel a little bit more confident and have some clarity in your journey. So I really encourage you to go to our website at wealthmichigan.com, look at some items there, and schedule a visit with us.
So here's the deal. Researchers in this study from the American College of Financial Services said that men often claim to have higher levels of knowledge and then test poorly. Women's self-reported knowledge is more aligned to their actual literacy scores. So women are more honest about what they don't know when it comes to finance. Men tend to say, well, I already know all that. What are you talking about, Nolan? I know all that. So is there a difference when you sit down with a husband and wife, for example, in how they receive information?
Oh my goodness, it's night and day almost. So it is interesting, and sometimes it's a pride thing for us men. I mean, just speaking to the men out there, that sometimes it's hard to lower the guard, and I'm one of them, right? I mean, sometimes I just say, hey, I should know this, so I'm going to act like I know this even if I don't know this. And it could be something as simple as balancing a checkbook, right? I find it interesting because we'll see that it seems like sometimes the men have what they like to think, a good grip on what their investments or 401ks or what their retirement, plan looks like. But then it seems like sometimes we see the women are the ones that are balancing the checkbook in the back end and saying, okay, this is what our budget is. So the men say, oh, we're fine. And the women are like, well, we spend this kind of money though. So it's very interesting how honest we seem to have. Seems like they're a little more honest with some of that, and that's great. And we love to meet with clients, and sometimes they aren't on the right page. The only way we're going to get on the right page is if we have a meeting together, and have men and women, both the husband and wife together, or whatever the situation is, and have them come in, so that way we can be on the same page. Because if we're not on the same page, and we see it, right? One's the spender in the relationship, one's the saver, or vice versa. And it's one of those things that we want to make sure that they're on the same page, because it's just one of those things that we at least want to bring something to head and make sure that, because we don't like surprises. We don't want our clients to ever have surprises. So it's one of those things, if we can come together and look at that together and be honest, that it makes it a lot better for our clients to be able to realize some of those dreams.
And again, if you'd like to sit down with the team at McIntosh and Associates and talk about where you are on your road to retirement, hey, Nolan, Mindy, can I retire? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? The number one fear amongst retirees is still the fear of outliving their money. Will my loved ones be okay if something happens to me? That's a big one as well. Think about it. You lose a spouse, lower of the two Social Securities goes away, part or all of a pension could go away. And then, hey, congratulations, you were married for 40 or 50 years. We'll let you file taxes jointly for that year that person passed. Next year, though, we're going to tax you as a single person, so your taxes went up. So there are a lot of whammies here. Give the team a call. It's time to put a plan in place, and the team at McIntosh & Associates are here to help. It's 877-222-8849, 877-222-8849. Mindy, I think it's really interesting what because you started your company in 2004. You've been doing this for a long time, helping a lot of people in a lot of different situations. What I wonder is how different is planning for a married couple versus a single person, whether a widow, a widower, divorced, or just single? I mean, what's the difference between creating a plan, the Dream Focused Wealth Plan, for a married couple versus an individual?
Well, it's very different, especially because if they're a married couple, really depending on situation, if they're both currently working, we do the same page type of exercise, which is kind of fun. But if they're, both working currently and a married couple, then we're looking at who's the breadwinner of the family. And especially if only one of them is working and one of the spouses stays home, we're really looking at creating and deciding where is the income going to come from should, one of the spouses pass away, especially the higher income earner. And how do we set that up now so that at any point in time, we can just turn that key on and make sure that everyone is protected and it is a secure retirement journey. A lot of times we go ahead and set it up that way. And the husband or the wife might have a higher degree of willing to have more risk in their retirement plan than the other spouse. So we set that up so each one has kind of their own platform, their own models to look at, but yet should something happen and when something is to happen, we have that staged in place. Where if we're dealing with someone who's single or widowed or divorced, a lot of times, especially if they're women, they're more conservative. So they want to know that they have that safe, secure retirement, and they're either looking to have fun and travel a lot or do some gardening or kind of team up and hang out with some other single ladies or sisters and things of that nature. So they want to be able to have some money to go have fun, but their main thing is they just want to be okay and they want to feel protected. So they want to feel like they can come here, ask any questions that they have, maybe even be able to vent about things that they might be worried about, whether it has to do with their retirement portfolio journey or not. And just how that happens to work within their, retirement years or even their working years. And a big thing is, one of the ladies, as we talked about taxes earlier, her biggest thing and her biggest concern is all these taxes in retirement. And how does she help her grandkids so they don't start paying more taxes in retirement than they do in their working years with strategically planning the type of, free versus taxable accounts they have. So everyone is a little bit different. We have some that are very conservative, and some of the ladies, they like being able to work from a woman's approach of just we're a little bit more gentle. And, as we can talk about some items that maybe really they're concerned about that aren't a concern. It's just about an education piece. So these plans are really set up quite differently depending on where you're at in your journey, what income looks like. And when we stress test the portfolio, what would happen if you are or aren't married? How does Social Security affect things? Other income? How does the retirement timeline along with, investment performance and inflation and all these factors come into play? So let's take a look at each one of you individually. That's how we like to walk through that together and then meet you right where you're at and set up just a time to have a visit together here at McIntosh & Associates.
And remember this, on the website, wealthmichigan.com, there is a checklist challenge that you can download right there. And there's like 33, 34, 35 different items on it. And if you can do them all, you're probably good to go. More than likely, there's going to be some items you can't check. And that's maybe an opportunity to take the checklist challenge and then come in and see with Mindy and Nolan later, say, well, here's what we did. Here's how it played out. What should we be doing at this point? So you can find that checklist challenge on the website, wealthmichigan.com. But again, it all starts with a discovery meeting to find out about your hopes and your dreams, your bucket list things that you want to do in retirement. And then Mindy and Nolan will figure out where's your income going to come from to replace the paychecks that are no longer coming in. Investment strategies, tax-efficient strategies, health and long-term care planning, legacy estate planning. When you think, well, what about, that's a big decision, Social Security. That's a big one. When do I start it? When do we start it? How do we do that? That's in the income part. What about Medicare? A lot of moving parts there. That is in the healthcare part. A lot of moving parts. Give the team a call at McIntosh & Associates. They're here to help you. And it's all about you at McIntosh & Associates. 877-222-8849. Again, there's no cost for this. 877-222-8849. Back with our final segment right after this with Mindy and Nolan. This is Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes.
To learn more about the team at McIntosh & Associates, check out their website anytime at wealthmichigan.com.
Glad you're with us today for Wealth Michigan with the McIntoshes, Mindy and Nolan. I'm Mark Elliott. You can always go to the website to find out more, wealthmichigan.com. You want to give the team a call and say, hey, I think I'm going to be okay, but I don't really know. 877-222-8849. There's no cost, no obligation for this. 877-222-8849. And Mindy, I know coming up in May, towards the end of May, you've got a special guest coming to Freeland, Michigan, correct?
We sure do. May 25th and 26th, we have Marty Ruby coming in. He is the founder of Stonewood Financial and one of the country's leading authorities when it comes to saving strategies designed to deliver greater wealth, and it's really through some wonderful tax strategies. He really helps with increasing financial security and a tax diversification. We're actually going to hold these at the H Hotel and serve lunch or dinner. And we really, really want to bring in these key factors that he can teach you about these wonderful strategies. And really these tax efficient strategies that he's going to talk about is we want to make sure that your portfolio is set up in a tax efficiency way, because the majority of the people that come through our doors, they have a lot of money that is in retirement accounts that is pre-tax. And so what that means is, you've saved money, it's grown tax deferred. You maybe took a break on your taxes now, especially at tax season, but then all of a sudden retirement comes and now you have to pay taxes on all of that money, even the growth. So the question that so many people ask is, are there ways that we can position some of these assets to be more tax efficient, not only in today's dollars for, income today, but also for the future, as they want to pass it on to either their heirs or not pay as much taxes in their own retirement years or their grandchildren. So we're going to make sure that we share, along with Marty Ruby that day, a strategy for themselves and their family. And he'll share some recent tax law changes and what that actually means for you today. At the end of the session, we do have some books for you, a book written by Marty Ruby, and Nolan and I have written a forward in the front of there. So we will make sure that you can leave with a book that goes into even more details from that nice, what I call a kind of a lunch and learn or a dinner and learn. But we're very excited to have Marty here in town. So if you can make one of those 2 days, we'll have more information on our website at wealthmichigan.com in the upcoming weeks here. We really, really want to get you educated on what's happening within the tax code, what these efficient strategies are, and I'd love to have a warm welcome for Marty, in the coming month here with regards to taxes.
Marty Ruby is a former CEO of an insurance company. He's an actuary, Nolan, so it's all about the numbers.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and he's good. I mean, it's one of those things that, yes, he is an actuary, so he can speak above you if you want, but he doesn't. He's really good at bringing things down into more layman's terms and understanding, how taxes would work in retirement. And we use his software. We use Stonewood Financial software to show out how we would look at how to save somebody in taxes and what they would be paying if they keep their current plan where it's at, and what it looks like if we do some of these tax strategies. So it's not a meet the author kind of person that we don't know who he is and we don't use anything of his. We actually use his software to help build some of these tax strategies, and it's a very good visual for our clients to be able to say, man, I never understood how I'm going to pay some of these. And we can play with the parameters on what happens if taxes go up, how much more would you be paying, and things of that nature. And it's a really, really, really neat software on how we can look at different tax strategies for our clients and help them be in a better place for their retirement. So I encourage everybody that's listening to this, come out there. Any information that you want on that, please give our office a call at 877-222-8849. And again, our website will have information on it as well. So make sure that you guys get registered for that event.
WealthMichigan.com as well, 877-222-8849. I think your eyes will be opened about some of the tax situations that some of you may be in with your traditional 401k, your traditional IRA. Again, it's WealthMichigan.com. Seating is limited again, so once it's full, it's full. It's a great opportunity, though, for you. And you can always call the team if you have questions, 877-222-8849.
McIntosh and Associates Incorporated is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management LLC, AEWM. AEWM and McIntosh and Associates Incorporated are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. McIntosh and Associates Incorporated is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by McIntosh and Associates Incorporated. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences, including, but not limited to, a need for additional tax withholding or estimated tax payments, the loss of certain tax deductions and credits, and higher taxes on Social Security benefits and higher Medicare premiums. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.